Kimberly, how are you feeling, my darling? It's amazing to have you here because it's a very, very important topic. It's a topic that it's part of our life, but we do not talk about it that much, especially in our community. We talk about business, leadership, marketing, all kinds of things that we want to grow our business, but we forget that relationships are a very important part of our journey. And we cannot grow our career, or ourself, or our business unless we have really managed the relationship with ourselves, relationship with the loved ones. And especially I've realized many times women feel a breakdown. Maybe they're really doing well in many areas of their life. They lose one pillar, that is love, and they feel like they lose everything. I'm looking forward to learn more from you. First of all, what inspired you to start this journey, and tell us a little bit more about you.
Well, thank you, Mirela. I'm super excited to be on this call. I hope that those who are waiting are now in the room. So hello to everybody. I'm an international dating expert, and I help high-achieving women transform their romantic lives and rediscover the joy of love and dating after divorce and breakups. And as Mirela said, it's a big part of everyone's lives, and it's more and more frequent, unfortunately, that people find themselves in this situation, and they may have had several marriages or several relationships. So it's a really important topic, and it's one that is close to the heart. No pun intended, because it's all about the heart. And like you said, Mirela, there are so many women who succeed in their career, and then in this aspect of their life, it's neglected or they're struggling. So my mission is ambitious, and I'm looking to help 1 million women by 2027. So it's super ambitious, and I need all the women in Global Women and Beyond to help support this. And spread the word. And as you know, I'm on social media, and I provide free content there for everybody. So I'll share those links later. But that's a little intro to me. Do you want me to keep going?
And now what I would like to learn is what is your why? Why did you decide to do this and not something else? Is it because there is always like a connection, a deeper root that we feel we have a calling, and you feel that this is what you're meant to do in life. How did you discover this purpose?
Of course. So I basically was married for over 20 years. And in 2019, I had a wake-up call. My divorce went through in 2019. I was married over 20 years, quite a long time. And my parents died as well. That year, my dad got killed in a tragic accident. My mother, who is also my best friend, was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and I helped her until the end of her life. And the message for me and the learning for me really was that life is short. And I really had always wanted to make a difference in the world. One of my, kind of childhood dreams, I always felt very connected with people. And one of my childhood dreams was to be a journalist and interview people, or to be a talk show host like Oprah Winfrey, and hear people's stories and hear about their hardships and their triumphs and what made them tick. And I wanted to be a part of making the world a better place. And so when I went through this, my marriage, basically been programmed and repeated in classic psychology, kind of the patterns that I had lived through in my childhood. And that was my ex had addiction issues and had narcissistic traits. And as I went through the difficulty and the pain of my marriage, that's where I began my personal development journey. And I invested over 15 years in personal development and inner work. And when 2019 hit, when my divorce went through and my parents died, I realized, now is the time. I need to do this now. And so I took on a master's degree at HEC Paris, for those who know of HEC Paris, and I did a master's of science and innovation and entrepreneurship to fulfill my dreams. And I really originally wanted to elevate women women's lives post-divorce. And two separate life coaches of mine said, you know, Kimberly, you can totally help women, of course, but why don't you, you're having such success in the dating area, why don't you help specifically to romance and dating? And at first I kind of thought, oh, you know, I don't know about that. But I kept, you know, the second coach said it, and then girlfriends and people I would meet, and they say, you know, how are you doing it? And you look so good for your age. And what are you doing? And tell me your secrets. And, you know, can you help me? I even have a lot of men who ask me if they can help, if I can help them, but I'm focused on women for now. But that's really where I thought, you know what, I actually can contribute. And I do want to help, and through my own struggles and navigating my own difficulties, help other women, you know, through my insights and knowledge support, help them elevate their lives to healing and dating and romance again.
Well, I'm very inspired by your story, and I agree with you. Sometimes we look for something and we don't know what's the reason why it's delayed, what you're looking for, because something is waiting for us, something that is meant for us to do. And now look where you are. You have now managed to find your calling, to create your own blueprint, to bring people along the way, because it's very important that you do what you're meant to do, so you enjoy and you feel that you are complete and you're fulfilled. And especially doing what you do, honestly, I feel like a mission, because there is a need out there for women to get some guidance. And many times we forget that it's not something that we can learn from just talking, let's say, with a neighbor or with a sister or family member. It's always important that we get out of the circle and we surround ourselves in the right environment, listening to the advice of the expert who is specialized for that particular thing, and getting the right direction. It's so important. So how do you feel now, as you have taken yourself in this journey? What is the main issues that you see women are facing, especially professional women, women in business? What are the main challenges they bring to the table when they come to talk to you?
Well, there's a mixture of challenges, but a lot of it stems from not feeling good enough, not feeling like they know what's going wrong, not feeling that they know what they actually want, knowing that they have challenges but don't know how to overcome them, not believing that they can actually meet someone or there's any good men out there. There's lots of different challenges. In particular, there's what they perceive are the challenges, and then there are what are the actual challenges.
So you're saying there are many myths out there, like, oh, all the good men are gone, there is nobody out there, or of course, sometimes it's very good, tempting to think that it's everybody's fault, it's the world is changed, but we forget that we have a say as well. We have, do you think that it comes from our belief system and our mindset, a big part of it? Or of course it must be some truth that of course things have changed as well in both sides, men and women.
Of course, I mean, that in fact that's part of, we'll see in the master class, so some of these topics that I touch on, because everything stems hugely from, and I mentioned a little bit about my own patterns in the past, and we act in ways that are in line with what we perceive as our reality. So if we've had a childhood, for example, that went a certain way, and we reproduce those schemes or those patterns, that is the lens we're looking through the world in, and that's what we think is the way it functions. But in fact, when we realize that it doesn't have to be that way, it's a bit of an epiphany. So there's definitely beliefs involved. Then there are emotional ways that one behaves, or perhaps someone's been through a trauma as well that's unrelated to, you know, their family patterns. So there's a lot of different things at play. There's a lot of also ways that people behave, that they're blind spots. They don't really see the way that they communicate or the way that they act. So it's down, there are a lot of different mechanics that go into play behind why someone's dating life is, you know, at a dead stop or doesn't exist, or why they're not trying to date, or why they've dated and they're not succeeding.
And yeah, of course, I'm not going to tap a lot into the big topic, what happens after the break. So that is something that you're going to cover in the masterclass. But what I would like to ask one more thing is like, just seeing how much the world has changed and how much women have progressed, how much we emphasize in women empowerment, gender equality, especially financial empowerment, because a long time ago it was very, very clear, like women are here in this world to provide the beauty, the feminine energy, stay home, just make sure the man, the family is all happy, taken care of. And the man's role was to go out there and hunt and provide and make sure that the family has enough financial security, and also, of course, to provide safety and stability for the family. Now, in fact, lots of things have changed. Women have got their power in money levels where they do not only have a say to communicate, but to go out there, to work, to run a business, to lead, to show all her skills, other skills that maybe we didn't have the opportunity to show before. And this somehow has created a little bit of change in the dynamics of the relationship. So how these dynamics have impacted the way when we put, let's say, a mirror in front of us, say, what am I looking for? What kind of man am I? Because the criteria now have changed. So what is your experience on this process?
So it's a huge, huge topic, and it's actually one that's growing, because there's more apparently young women who actually graduate from university, not enter university, but graduate from university than in the past. So it's actually kind of a growing problem, if you'd like. But I'd say for the majority of women above 30, there has been this, of course, increase in female and woman power, which I am an absolute advocate of. Absolutely. I was raised by a mother who struggled in many ways. My parents were divorced several times, and I saw her struggle financially, struggle to raise us, struggle to find, new partners in her life. And everything was quite difficult. Women have made huge leaps in terms of what they're able to do. One of the challenges with this is twofold. And the first one is that men are lost in terms of where they fall in this world, because they are, for thousands of years, they've had this hunter-gatherer, provider role. And this is where they feel, and I'm talking about masculine men here, they feel their best. And so when a woman comes in and in a workplace, I don't think it's really an issue. It's when it comes into the romantic relationships that it's a challenge, because it then becomes almost a masculine version of a woman that's across from a man, and men aren't very attracted to that. And that's a blind spot, I think, for a lot of women. And, they live basically, and I'll talk a little bit about this in the master classes, is women live in their masculine most of the day now. So it's almost like we've made a lot of progress in one area, but we've created intentionally, but it's been created, this imbalance now, and creating issues and challenges in personal and love relationships.
Wow, that's powerful. And thank you so much for bringing this, because this is exactly the world we're living in. And this is what we hear all the time. Maybe, as you said, we are not aware that, in fact, it's the world that we are contributing to create it. And we cannot go out there and blame anybody, because we have a say the way we put our intention, but also we grow our children. We are mothers who are impacting the next generation. And also we are women who have an impact, the way we communicate, the way we behave, the way we interact. All these dynamics create a big culture out there, and we are changing. Definitely, we are a generation that we're changing a lot. It's very interesting when I talk a lot about when I start talking about growth or about progress. Relationships are always a big factor. And when I hear like what we're looking for, do you think that there's somehow, yes, we want our independence, but let me go, yeah, maybe straightforward to the question. Let's suppose you have a woman who is dating, and I hear stories like they go in a date and they come shocked. Even a few days ago, when I was in a panel session with some women who brought this topic together, and it was like a kind of shocking experience to hear stories like you sit with someone and they just expect you to pay, or they expect you also to drive. I was like, to drive them home. I say, what is going on? The world is completely upside down. So is this true? It was, to be honest, a little bit shock of me for me as well. Is that true that we have come completely the other side of the reality, or is this like something that it happens rarely?
So
Do you hear these stories from your clients?
I would say that it's more rare that a man would expect a woman to pay. It does happen. I have had a couple clients share that they wind up paying for men, and those men in particular, I would say, are not masculine men, right? There are men who like, there are women who want to take charge in a relationship and be dominant, and there are men who want to play a more feminine role, and that's perfectly fine if that's what the woman wants, right? But most women, I would say, are not comfortable with the man asking her to pay. There are instances where the man asks the woman or expects the woman to share. This is more the younger generation, I would say, but that does happen. But I would say that says a lot about him. So it's for her to decide, is that the kind of man that she would want to be with?
Yeah, okay, that's so true, because somehow we still have a say what kind of people we are attracting in our life, and are we going to settle for what we're looking for, or are we going to tolerate and think in this limited belief that that's the way it is, there are no men out there? Yes, there are great men out there. And honestly, Kimberly, I hear both sides. I have lots of men who are great friends, and they come to me and said, please, do you know some good women that they're looking someone to be as a friend, to be there to support, because they also bring their kind of dramas, thinking that because every woman is just looking for rich, wealth, money, providing, and said, where the world is going. And then I hear women in the other side and said, what is going on? Because we are working hard, we're breadwinners, we are earning our living, we're also providing for them, but this has gone so far. So I hear both stories. Thank you for your generosity, Kimberly.
Very welcome. I'm so happy to be here.